All right, Golf Addicts DB back. First sleepers video of 2023 Sentry Tournament of Champions from lovely Hawaii. Let's get into this. I got two names for you, both going to be in that sub 10% range potentially based on early DFS projections. And one guy who loves to start the year hot in Hawaii, making his fourth appearance here at the TOC. And everybody talks about how, you got to have a little bit of course history here at Kapalua. And maybe people are sleeping on this dude's course history, but I'm excited to tell you about it. Let's get to it. All right. First name. I'm gonna save that. I'm gonna save that last guy. I'm gonna save him. I'm gonna give you one. I'm gonna give you the cheapest guy first, longest shot in the odds. And it's a guy at in the 6K range. He's at 6,600 on DraftKings. Going to give you a lot of salary relief there. Do what you want to do up top. And I'm a little surprised that early projections on multiple different websites so far. I'm recording this on Tuesday morning at 11 a.m. So far, only have this guy around the 8 to 9% range. Pretty consensus range among those websites. Um, for a $6,600 guy in a 39-man field event, I feel like sub 10% is really good. He's 110 to 1 outright to win on DraftKings. We haven't seen a triple digit number, much less a really large number, win this tournament hardly at all. And definitely 10 of the last 11 winners have been at sub 25 to 1 odds. So it's not likely that he's going to win, but you don't need him to at 6,600. He's plus 550 to top 10, which I do think could definitely present some pretty large top 10 value. And it's Scott Stallings. Now, we talked about him a little bit on the podcast last night, but Scott Stallings is an interesting name to look at. I'm going to share my screen. We're going to talk about him a little bit, but he's making actually his fourth trip. And now he was not the one I teased you about earlier, but this is his fourth trip. And a lot of people probably don't think about that with Scott Stallings because he hasn't won in like 6 years. It's been a long time, despite knocking on the door. He was knocking on the door last summer. He had a run there from like March through August that was hot, and we thought he was going to get it done. But he's making his fourth trip. He played here last in 2015, where he finished 14th. He played in 2013, where he finished 13th. And his first appearance was here in 2012, where he finished 22nd. Steve Stricker won that one. That was a long time ago. But it's not like he's not familiar with the place, okay? And I also know this. Scott has been in Hawaii for about 8 or 9 days now already. A lot of times, we worry about like the family stuff, right? The guys bring in their family, they got all their kids, and their wife wants to do a massage, and she wants to do a surf, maybe do a drink in a palm tree. And are these guys distracted? Are they clocked in? Well, a lot of guys do get there early. That is true, but I'm happy to hear that Scott is already, he's been there, he's doing all that, getting it all out the way, and now he's like, hey, hun, I, Daddy ain't been here since 2015, and now this is an elevated event, $15 million purse. I got to get here and get mine. So y'all go do the thing. Go to the ocean. Daddy's got to go to work. So I do like that about Scott. Let's share the screen. Take a look at I'm a little rusty, man. I hadn't done these videos in a while. It's been a long time. I'm excited to do them. I'm going to drop these to you every single Tuesday. I'm going to do my best to get them out every single Tuesday, give you at least 2 sleepers a week to consider, especially in DFS. By the way, if you're here, click the like button. If you're already watching the video, it doesn't take anything. Just go boop, hit the like button. Okay. Just real quick, like button helps out the channel. Subscribe if you haven't already. And here's the question, the comment I want you to put in the YouTube comment section below. I want to know, what's your golf goal for 2023? If you play personally, like, what's your goal? What do you want to try to do in 2023 for your own game? Or maybe it's just a betting or DFS golf related goal, but drop that in the YouTube comments. We talked about our own goals on the podcast last night. I would love to hear yours. Okay, let's share our screen and take a look at Scott Stallings. I realized I just did all that with the screen share going on. That's, like I said, I'm rusty. Okay. All right. What I like about Scott, gain strokes in easy courses. Clearly, the guy loves easy courses. Hits it plenty far. Everybody wants to talk about the distance factor. He hits it plenty far. Windy AF conditions, which is 17 miles an hour or greater. I don't know that we're going to get a ton of that, but it's going to get breezy. I don't love that, but he's good enough in moderate wind. When the ball striking is on for Scott, it is definitely on. He's a player that lately has just done kind of everything pretty good. No real glaring weakness. He's not a Luke List that can't putt, or Mackenzie Hughes, who sometimes can't hit his irons. Just no real glaring weakness. Now, he didn't end the fall swing as hot as I would like him to, but I mean, again, at the last 20 rounds, here's his the last 20 tournaments, which goes to that date in March that I was referencing and leads all the way up through now. Uh, you know, doubled his career strokes gained approach numbers. Really improved putting and around the green, and that's kind of stayed consistent. It seems like the short game is improving greatly for Scott, including the putter, which is going to be a key factor here. But I mean, look at this! Look at this run from like the Valspar through the through into the tour championship, getting into the tour championship. Now he had a horrible tour championship, but he followed it up, bounced back, had a nice week at the Sanderson for the first event back in the fall swing. But I mean, could have won the BMW, the John Deere, Charles Schwab. I mean, the guy just has had some really peak weeks, and you can see some really peak iron weeks from time to time. The putter stays solid. I think that could be really good for him. So I mean, Stallings is interesting. All right, so that's enough about Scott Stallings. I got to hit you with the guy that I teed up, that I teased in the beginning, and I'm. You guys are probably going to be like, DB, you love this guy, you love to talk about him, and I do, but I try not to talk about the same guys over and over again. But when I'm looking at a 30-man field event, it's hard to find sleepers, okay, that are going to be low owned and that then you can build a case around. And I really think I have a very compelling case for this guy. And it's Keegan Bradley at 7,500. He's 60 to 1 on DK right now. That's considerably higher than he is on a lot of other books. So if you want to grab that, I would get it. And he's plus 360 to top 10. Now, do I think Keegan can win this thing? I actually do. I actually believe Keegan could win the Tournament of Champions. And I've seen a little bit of, I guess, a spectrum of ownership in his early projections as opposed to Scott. Everything was like 8 or 9%. You got some sites that have Keegan around that 8.5% number. Some sites have him up as high as like 13 to 14, which sounds pretty high, but in this event, that's not that high. All the sites have him consensus kind of bottom half of the ownership. And I think, it probably could stay that way unless a bunch of you guys watch and share this video, which wouldn't hurt my feelings. Okay. But let me sell you on Keegan Bradley. I told you this was his fourth trip to the Tournament of Champions. Last showed up here in 2019, where he finished 27th. So it's been a couple years since he's been here. Before that, had not played since 2013, where he finished fourth, and then also played again in 2012, where he finished 16th. So he's got a top 5 finish here at the TOC, making his fourth trip to Kapalua. But here's also what I love about Keegan. He loves starting his season hot in Hawaii, which that's something we all got to think about, right? Like, who's going to come here having done a little bit of work in the offseason, having picked up the clubs, knocked the rust off? We talked about on the show last night, being an elevated event, a bigger purse. Sure, I think there's going to be guys in general that are going to put a lot into it. And I think Keegan's one of those guys. But 2 out of the last 3 seasons, he has started his year in Hawaii. It hasn't been at the Tournament of Champions. It's been at the Sony. But both of those years, last year and in 2020, he finished 12th at the Sony. Missed the cut in 2021, 12th in 2022, 12th in 2020 at the Sony. Now, is Waialae the same course as Kapalua? Absolutely not. Totally different golf course. You could make the point that with Keegan's driver, Kapalua fits him much better. But his irons are so good, and he's such an elite iron player. We know this about Keegan. Those small greens at Waialae give him an even greater advantage. But here, it all comes down to approach play and putting. I mean, these are massive greens. Everybody's hitting greens in regulation at a big clip. And so if you can hit it the closest and give yourself the most looks and execute on those looks, that's what you're trying to do. And he's got some peak putting weeks going on. Let's share the screen here and look at Keegan, because I think he's maybe made a turn in the putting category. Okay. Obviously gain strokes in easy conditions, average, whatever. This is going to be easy conditions. All right. Gain strokes in the wind. That's a lot partially, due to that tremendous iron play. Just hits the ball in the center of the club face every single time. But look at what we've seen here. So he won the Zozo in the fall. That's how he got here, and that was on the heels of a 5th place finish at the Sanderson. But look at these peak putting weeks that we've seen. 6.1. I don't know what he gained at the Zozo. I could look it up, but I bet it's pretty good. So that, I mean, it's very likely that he gained strokes putting at the Zozo. So that would be his last 3 events gaining strokes putting. That is something for Keegan Bradley. And then you had this 9.8 week at the Wells Fargo. That's something for Keegan Bradley. So like he's kind of, I mean, look at what we're used to seeing out of Keegan. Like this is kind of normal Keegan, really crappy, bad putting. And then all of a sudden, it seems like last or March of 2021, something kind of got figured out. Now he still has these really terrible weeks, but he doesn't have as many of them, and he's got plenty of green in here, and then he's even starting to build in these peak weeks. And if you get Keegan Bradley even breaking even, gaining one, gaining two, much less a peak week, with his ability to hit the irons and hit greens in regulation and hit them close, I just think that's a recipe. It really is a recipe in the head-to-head markets. Okay, he is head-to-head market. He is a favorite over Hideki and Adam Scott. Adam Scott price right there above him. Hideki's at like 8,100. So the head-to-head markets like him. I just feel like Keegan could be an interesting sleeper play. 7,500 bucks gives you plenty of salary relief there. I think a lot of people are going to that Aaron Wise, Sahith, um, Seamus Power range. I've seen a lot of ownership eaten up there. So that's going to leave people skipping Keegan. So we'll see what it shakes up to. But I mean, even if it's at 14, 15%, that's not terrible for a guy with his upside, I think. And especially if the hot putter continues, that could be the one. All right. Thanks for watching the video. Hit the like button, subscribe, comment about your golf goal. Let me know what's up. And stick around for more great content coming out on the YouTube channel here this year in 2023. Thanks for rocking with us. Let's make our screens green and bend over our bookies. See ya.